Could you survive the silence of deep space? Not movie silence? Real silence. The kind where a message from Earth takes 20 minutes to reach you, and another 20 minutes for a reply to come back. By the time anyone hears your voice, the emergency is already over. Or you are. As humanity prepares for missions to Mars, engineers focus on fuel, radiation, and landing systems. Another fear keeps appearing because the greatest threat to Mars astronauts may not be mechanical failure. It may be isolation at first. Deep space feels beautiful. Astronauts describe Earth as a glowing blue flame floating in endless darkness. Every person, every city, every human story visible at once. But the farther a spacecraft travels, the stranger that connection becomes. On Mars missions, communication delays can stretch to nearly 20 minutes one way. Normal conversation becomes impossible. Or no live calls, no immediate reassurance. A frightened astronaut cannot ask mission control for instant help. They send a message, and then wait. And wait. By the time Earth responds, emotional moment is gone. NASA psychologists have studied this problem for years because the human brain depends on instant feedback. You speak, someone reacts. You panic, someone comforts you. Deep space breaks that cycle completely. And astronauts may not realize the damage immediately. Then something subtle begins happening. Crew members start talking less, not because they dislike each other, because conversation itself starts feeling emotionally distant. Earth slowly stops, feeling like a living support system, and starts feeling like a delayed recording from another world. Then Earth begins shrinking eventually. It becomes almost impossible to separate from the surrounding stars. Psychologists call this the Earth out-toe view phenomenon. The moment astronauts stop feeling psychologically connected to civilization itself. For all of human history, people have lived surrounded by signs of life, voices, crowds, movement, even isolation on. Earth still exists inside human civilization. Mars changes that. No cities, no weather, no proof. Humanity exists nearby, only machinery. Darkness and distance the brain struggles to understand. And that's when deeper questions begin. If nobody can see you anymore, who are you becoming out there? Some astronauts already describe space as psychologically disorienting even in Earth orbit. Mars could push that feeling much further, because astronauts will not just leave Earth physically. They will leave it mentally, and once that separation begins, the crew becomes each astronaut's entire world. That creates another danger. A Mars crew is not simply a team, it is a trapped micro-society. No escape, no privacy, no outside mediation. For years, on Earth, small frustrations disappear naturally. People leave rooms, take walks, cool down. Mars crews cannot. A repetitive habit, a sarcastic tone. Even the sound of someone chewing can slowly become unbearable after months inside confinement. And researchers discovered something unsettling during isolation experiments. The most dangerous conflicts rarely begin with major arguments. They begin quietly. Tiny frustrations repeated thousands of times until resentment slowly takes over. Then things become even stranger. Crew members sometimes stop expressing frustration entirely, not because the tension disappeared, because survival becomes more important than honesty. Astronauts begin suppressing emotions to protect group stability. But suppressed tension does not disappear. It builds silently, researchers notice participants becoming emotionally distant and long. Before open conflict appeared, some avoided eye contact. Others reduced conversations to basic tasks only. And these were simulations where participants still knew Earth could rescue them if necessary. A real Mars mission removes that safety completely. No emergency evacuation. No immediate medical help. No rescue mission arriving quickly. The crew becomes their own doctors, therapists, decision-makers. For the first time in history, humans may live completely beyond immediate human assistance. And that reality is forcing scientists to rethink astronaut psychology entirely, because traditional astronaut training may no longer be enough. Mars requires something different. The ability to survive existential isolation. Researchers are now developing new cognitive training systems designed specifically for deep space missions. One concept is called active solitude, instead of treating isolation as something harmful. Astronauts train themselves to mentally coexist with it, to find calm inside silence, meaning inside. Repetition, stability, without constant human validation, and that psychological shift may determine whether future crews remain mentally functional millions of miles from Earth. But technology may also play a major role. Researchers are experimenting with immersive AI-generated memory systems designed to recreate emotional familiarity. Astronauts may someday walk through virtual versions of childhood homes, hear familiar voices, revisit meaningful memories designed to reduce psychological stress at first. That sounds comforting until you realize what it means. Humans may need artificial emotional experiences simply to survive becoming interplanetary, and that changes the meaning of space exploration completely, because Mars is no longer only a psychological challenge. It is becoming a psychological evolution. Researchers have even started using a new phrase, the Martian Mindset, a state where astronauts stop depending on constant Earth-based reassurance, where identity becomes internal instead of social, where emotional stability no longer depends on immediate connection with humanity. In other words, humans preparing for Mars are slowly training themselves to think differently from every generation before them. But nobody truly knows what happens after years of that transformation. What happens when the first Mars pioneers return home? Will Earth still feel familiar? Or will they feel permanently separated from the planet they once called home? Because deep space does not only change the body, it changes perspective. The first humans on Mars may also become the first humans, psychologically detached from Earth itself, which brings us back to the silence. Not the silence outside the spacecraft, the silence after the final message finishes playing. The silence where no voice answers back. The silence where humanity realizes that between worlds, we are truly alone. Surviving space is an engineering problem. Surviving the silence may be something far more difficult.